Coming up, we have a 2,000 round review of the GSG 16. Chambered in .22 long rifle, this little range toy combines a huge amount of features with a very serious cool factor. Made in Germany by the one and only German Sporting Guns Corporation, it packs a whole lot of quality into a very reasonable price point. We reveal everything you need to know coming up next. All right, friends, welcome to the show. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up, so let's get right into it. Now, today we're going to be talking about the GSG 16. Now, if you are here watching this, it likely means that you are doing research about your next purchase. So I'm going to do everything in my power to help you make an informed decision. I've been running this little rascal for about a month now, and I've got 2,000 rounds, give or take, through it. And so I'm going to show you everything you need to know about this firearm. Now, full disclosure, GSG did not send this gun to me. They are not sponsoring this video. I bought this with my own money, so I can give you a perfectly honest review. We're going to get the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm happy to report that there is quite a bit more good than all of the other stuff. I've been shooting this for about a month now, and it's a lot of fun. And I can tell you that every time I hand this thing over to somebody on the range, it always ends up putting a really big smile on their face. So you are in for a treat. Obviously, the first thing you notice about this rifle is that it bears an uncanny resemblance to the legendary submachine pistol, the H&K MP5. And yes, the GSG does join the ranks of many MP5 impersonators. This army of clones is trying desperately to borrow from decades of Hollywood cool factor and get themselves into the hands of freedom-loving Americans at a discount price. With all due respect to Die Hard, when it comes to real-world shooting, most experts will agree that the original MP5 has pretty much been the gold standard for pistol-caliber carbines for over 40 years. So how does the GSG hold up to the original H&K MP5? Well, there's not really much comparison there. To begin, this is chambered in .22 long rifle, whereas the H&K is a 9mm submachine gun, so they're really two different platforms. This is not a fighting gun, nor is it a home defense rifle. And while you might be able to bullseye the occasional squirrel or rabbit, I would not go so far as to call this a hunting rifle either. And so that pretty much only leaves us one final option. It's totally a range toy. And so let's start with some of the basics. It does have the super cool HK slap, which any self-respecting shooter needs to have in the arsenal. And it comes with this stylish barrel shroud. It looks like a suppressor, but don't be fooled, because this is little more than a chunk of metal surrounding the totally not suppressed barrel. The rifle comes clad on 4 sides with picatinny rails. So if you're the type of person who likes to accessorize your Honda Civic into a gangster mobile, there are plenty of places to attach useless crap that you will never use. Personally, I found the rails to be a bit bulky and gaudy, so I took them off. This managed to slim down the grip and give the rifle a nice low profile, making it much easier to use. This also comes in handy for people with smaller hands. So if you're looking for something that is great for kiddos and girls, a stripped-down GSG 16, along with its lightweight polymer construction, is quite comfortable for shooters who do not wish to carry around a slab of solid iron. Let's say you want to sharpen your shooting skills, but you don't want to spend a fortune on ammunition. The .22 long rifle is literally the most cost-effective round you could ever use for training. Furthermore, let's say you want to introduce new people to the illustrious freedom-loving world of the Second Amendment. The .22 LR is the ideal starter round, and the GSG is the perfect delivery system to sling those tiny bullets downrange and bring that new shooter into the realm of the enlightened. And now it's time to talk price. Like all things in life these days, guns have become very expensive. And yet, somehow, despite the exploding cost of literally everything, the GSG 16 manages to defy reality with a reasonable price tag. I couldn't believe it myself at first, and yet this gun typically comes in well below $400 brand new. The nearest offering from H&K is made by Umarex. It is also chambered in .22 long rifle. It has a polymer body, but does not offer the multitude of Picatinny rails or the ambidextrous charging handle of the GSG 16. And for comparison, when we look at the real deal original gangster H&K 9mm, it does not take a math wizard to see that you could probably outfit yourself with an entire arsenal of really cool guns for the price of a single MP5S. All right, we need to take a minute to talk reloads. If you're coming from the AR-15 world, things are gonna be a little bit different than they are here in the H&K world. So let's start off, I'll show you what we mean. We're gonna run a quick mag. Okay, so first thing we do, we roll the weapon over, do a visual inspection of the ejection port and see we are in fact empty. Now, in the AR-15 world, my first instinct is to go straight for the magazine. But watch what happens. After we reload, I do not have any kind of buttons that I can push to charge the next round into the chamber. So I actually have to do this manually with the charging handle. Still works, but it's an extra step. All right, now let's try the H&K version. First thing we're gonna do, take our support hand and rack the charging handle back. Then we come straight down, eject that magazine, put the new magazine in, and at this point we have the cool HK slap, and we're back in business.
All right, price comparisons, accessories, blah, blah, blah. But how does it actually shoot? Personally, I find the rifle to be a very enjoyable experience. The trigger is nothing to write home about, but is perfectly adequate for pinching off tiny .22 rounds. All of the control systems work exactly as they should. The weapon cycles just as you would expect, and the magazines are very intuitive and easy to use. As for accuracy, you might have to look to another channel for that assessment. Unfortunately, I have neither the eyesight nor the talent to come anywhere close to this elusive bullseye that everybody keeps talking about. But I will be sure to let you know if I ever do find one. Our little arsenal contains a rather solid selection of exceptionally high quality rifles, complete with hefty price tags. And despite all of this fancy hardware, when it comes time to hit the range, I find myself reaching for the discount GSG far more often than any of the other guns.
So if you are an experienced shooter and you find yourself often trying to bring new people into the Second Amendment, the .22 long rifle is a pretty ideal cartridge for beginners. Reason being is it's extremely easy to shoot. It runs soft, it has virtually no recoil, it's a lot of fun, and therefore completely reduces the intimidation factor. And with little intimidation, we have a very, very good first experience for new shooters coming onto the range. All right, friends, let's take a quick tour of the rifle. Now, there are a lot of really interesting design features going on here, and I think they're worth talking about. First things first, it is a full-length 16-inch barrel, so this is a full rifle, which means you can have a full stock, not a brace. That's actually very convenient. Up front here, we have what looks like a suppressor. This is definitely not a suppressor, it's just a barrel shroud. This is just a chunk of aluminum that goes around the front of the barrel to make the thing look cool, and it does just that. But it does not in any way suppress the rifle. Next, we have fully ambidextrous controls, which is really, really interesting. I'm flipping the safety selector over here on this side, and as you can see, it's happening over here as well. Magazine release is H&K style right down the middle. This can be accessed from right or left-handed very, very easily. And of course, the charging handle, my favorite part is the charging handle. This actually can be shifted from the right to the left-hand side. All you have to do is remove this top picatinny rail and undo a little screw, and this charging handle goes all the way over to the right-hand side. So if you are a fully left-handed shooter like I am, that charging handle over on the right is very, very convenient. Now, moving across to the front grip comes clad on 4 sides with picatinny rails. I found them to be a little bit bulky, so I took them off, and that reveals an M-lock system right here, which is also very convenient. So if you're the kind of person who likes to hang a lot of junk on your rifle, easy enough place to go. In the back, we have this handy dandy little extra magazine stash, which at first I thought this was completely chintzy, but as it turns out, when you start to use it, when you're just plinking around on the range, it actually is quite accommodating. Now, I wouldn't go hiking with this thing because it's not 100% secure, but for kicking around on the range, it's an easy enough place to stash an extra mag. So as you can see, there are a lot of really interesting innovations going on here, especially for the price. All right, friends, now it's time to address the elephant in the room. Now, all the research that I've done on this gun, shooters' primary concern is that it's an all polymer body. Yeah, the guts are made out of metal, the barrel, the bolt assembly, but this is pretty much an all plastic gun. Anything that you as an operator would touch is made out of plastic. And this has been a major concern for a lot of people. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't really matter. I have not encountered any problems whatsoever with the build quality. It's an exceptionally well-made gun. And the fact that it's all plastic, is really not a big deal, because you have to consider the idea that a 22 long rifle is really not going to deliver an enormous amount of energy. It's not like this is a Kel-Tec shotgun blowing itself to pieces with the impact of a 12 gauge shell. What we have to keep in mind is that this little gun actually has very limited use. It's just a range toy, and as such, it's going to have a very easy life. This is not a fighting gun that you bet your life on. It's not the kind of thing that after the apocalypse and the world runs out of bullets, you're going to be using this to cudgel zombies. That's for the AK-47. So as far as the plastic build construction on this little rifle, it's totally fine. It's not going to bother you at all. So the polymer construction makes this gun very lightweight. It's extremely easy to use, which is ideal for girls and kiddos. And finally, the plastic cuts down on cost. It's as simple as that. This gun is astonishingly inexpensive. All right. Trying to talk about malfunctions, and it's not malfunctioning. All right, let's take a minute to talk about malfunctions. Again, the H&K world, things are gonna be a little bit different. What I've found with this rifle is that if you end up hitting a malfunction, your first instinct is to roll the weapon over and take a visual inspection of the ejection port. Now, typically, when you get a 22 strike and nothing happens, you just have a dead round in there, the bolt is not gonna come back and you're not gonna be able to see what's going on. Now, your first instinct is gonna be to start racking the charging handle. This is not a good idea, because what happens with this little gun for some reason is that it basically just ingests a bunch of bullets into the interior of the chamber there. So what you want to be sure to do when you come up against a malfunction is roll the rifle over and get that ejection port facing straight down, and then just ram away at it until the bullet comes out, and you should be in pretty good shape. This is a little different from the AR world, but again, I've discovered that if you go straight over and to try to clear malfunctions with the weapon in this orientation, it just clogs and it just ends up stuffed full of little 22 bullets, and you're kind of taking things apart and doing all this stuff. Whereas, keep in mind, roll over, get that ejection port coming down, run it hard, and that should get you back into the fight.
Alright, so you get the occasional traffic jam of 22 rounds clattering around. But clearing malfunctions is always good practice. And for the price, you cannot expect the thing to run flawlessly 100% of the time. That would only ever happen if SIG and Glock had a baby, made a deal with the devil, and subsequently broke the internet.
So, should you buy the GSG 16? That, my friends, is completely up to you. All I can say is that I've had an absolute blast shooting this rifle, and again, I reiterate, anytime I hand this thing over to somebody on the range, it puts a big smile on their face. Furthermore, for the price, you literally can't go wrong. You could buy 2 or 3 of these things for the price of a half-decent AR-15, and the ammo is way cheaper, so you can shoot it all day, and it's not gonna break the bank. It is extremely easy to shoot. It's a lot of fun, and it has proven itself to be very, very reliable, thanks to its excellent build quality, courtesy of our friends in Germany. Long story short, this little rifle packs in a whole lot of capability for the price. I am particularly excited about the fully ambidextrous nature of this gun, especially coming from the perspective of a left-handed shooter. So if you have kiddos, or if you are an experienced shooter and you find yourself constantly having to bring people over to the Second Amendment, this is a really, really excellent training rifle, and it should definitely be in your arsenal. Plenty of people are going to hate on it for being plastic, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be made out of titanium to be a great gun. So for those of you who want a real H&K, you will probably have to sell a kidney in order to afford that price tag. As for me, I'll be on the range with all of my organs fully intact, having fun with this little rifle.
And so, in summary, we have what I would consider to be an ideal rifle for both first-timers and experienced shooters. There are not a whole lot of guns which can comfortably fit into both categories. I think this works because it is imperative that experts and beginners cross paths. If you are new to the world of shooting, both your experience and your safety will be improved dramatically when you are able to receive training from a pro. And trust me, don't be shy. The experts want to help you. They want you to become a part of something that is bigger than all of us as individuals. When beginners and pros come together, everyone wins. And with any luck, the GSG 16 will be right there at the crossroads.
No day at the range is complete without some shenanigans. There you go. All right, friends, as always, thank you so much for joining us. I certainly hope that you had fun on our little rifle adventure. Now, if you have any interesting stories about the GSG 16, please be sure to leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Furthermore, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. We got a lot of cool new stuff coming up, and I don't want you to miss out. That's going to do it for now. We'll see you soon. In the meantime, stay sharp, and God bless America.